When planning your Alaska cruise, it's important to reserve your excursions ahead of time before they sell out. Most Alaskan cruises stop in Skagway, Alaska, and there are several things to see in this small port town. In this video, we'll cover the famous White Rail Pass train ride, which is the most popular excursion in Skagway, and compare it to another fun excursion, which is the bus ride into the mountains. For the Norwegian Cruise Line, the train excursion is called the White Pass Scenic Railway, and the bus ride is called the Summit Scenic Drive. Because the excursions are run by local companies, they should be the same excursions offered by other cruise lines, though the excursion name might be a slight variation. I went on both of these excursions on the same day in Alaska, so sit back and relax as you learn all about what you can expect on each one, including tips to help you have the best experience. First, let's cover the White Rail Pass train ride. For this excursion, you'll board a historic train built in 1897 to assist the gold miners in traveling to the Yukon Territory during a gold rush. During the train ride, you'll see majestic mountains, an old broken bridge, and gorgeous aqua-colored rivers. It's also fun to see other trains pass by. Depending on which season you choose to visit, you may see piles of snow all around, or maybe just a little bit high in the mountaintops, as I did during my July visit. Let's now talk about some tips for this excursion. If your cruise line is like mine, the Norwegian Cruise Line, you'll be lining up for the train ride in the port quite far in advance of the time the train actually leaves. We got in line early, and as we were at the front of the line, we had first pick of the seats in our train car. Another thing to know is that you're allowed to stand outside of your train car on a box platform area. While it's safe to do so, it's still a good idea to be attentive to the safety of yourself and others while the train is moving. The best place to sit while you're going up the mountain is on the left side of your train car, and the best place to sit going down the mountain is on the right side of the train car. There may be enough open seats in your train car that you'll have a chance to move around if you wish. Another tip is that the train ride is almost 3 hours long. It clocks in at about 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's something to be aware of as you choose your excursion as far as your personal preference. While I have an extremely long attention span and the views from the train are gorgeous, the ride did start feeling a bit long to me at the end. The train actually enters Canada during a portion of the trip, and there are restrooms on board. All in all, the White Rail Pass train ride is worth it and one of the best, if not the best, excursion in Skagway. Now let's cover the Summit Scenic Drive, which is a bus ride in Skagway that goes through the mountains and provides stops along the way so you can take photos of the scenery. The bus ride is much shorter than the train ride. It's only an hour and a half. This ride provided an awesome surprise at the end that made it equal to or even exceed the enjoyment and fun of the White Pass Railway. So stay tuned to the end to hear what this surprise is, because it might be a deciding factor in which excursion you choose for your visit to Skagway, the train ride or the bus ride. And yes, you can choose to do what I did and do both excursions on the same day. The reason I did the bus ride in addition to the train ride initially was because I knew that the bus ride stopped and allowed you to get off and take photos, which was what I was really interested in doing. The bus driver talked throughout the ride, sharing history and making jokes, and his conversation really made the ride fun. The scenery from the bus ride did look different than from the train ride because it was a different vantage point or perspective. For example, instead of seeing close-ups of rivers, we saw a beautiful waterfall and were able to get out and take photos of it. We also visited an earthquake fault line and took photos of that as well and enjoyed the view. We then crossed into Canada and took a few photos of the land there. The biggest and best surprise of the bus ride came at the end when we were heading away from Canada and back into Alaska. We re-entered Alaska and stopped at this beautiful Alaska welcome sign. I had no idea that this was part of the trip when I signed up for the bus ride. It's a fun opportunity to take your photo with this beautiful sign and take it home with you as a souvenir. So, should you pick the train ride, the bus ride, or both? I would recommend doing both excursions in the same day if you're up for it, but it will limit your time in the city of Skagway so that you won't have much time to see much of anything else or enjoy a leisurely meal unless you meticulously plan ahead for it and watch your time carefully. A local said that the Skagway Fish Company, which is located right at the pier, is a good choice for a salmon lunch or dinner, but I didn't have time to go there when I was in Skagway. If you prefer to go on one excursion, the train ride has a slight edge because it's neat to be on a historic train in a beautiful setting, and you're going to spend more time in the mountains. But the scenic bus ride is a close second to enjoy your time in the mountains, and it can even exceed the fun of the train ride if you really want your photo with the Alaska welcome sign. In my opinion, if you do choose the bus ride over the train ride, you won't be missing out on having an amazing excursion in Alaska. For more Alaskan cruise videos, please subscribe. Happy Alaskan travels!